Happy Friday, everybody. I'm smiling for a bunch of reasons, not the least of which is that last video you saw before we chopped over to Chief and I is a video camera from an F-16 doing a max performance takeoff. Yes, and I can literally tell you from experience, it just never gets old. And when I watch that, it reminds me just how fortunate we are to be in the line of work that we do, how important it is what we do, and just what awesome machines that we have developed and continue to refine, develop, and push here at the center of the aerospace testing universe. So with that, happy Friday, everybody. Brigadier General Matt Higer, I'm the 412 Test Wing Commander. I am joined, as always, by the Command Chief. The fact that he is acting or PTDO is irrelevant to me, right? This is Chief Jeremy Swistak. Swiss, happy Friday.
Yes, sir. Happy Friday. And everybody out there, happy Friday. Right before a nice long weekend where we get to celebrate America a little bit.
Yeah, happy birthday, America.
Yes,
we'll talk about that a little bit more in the broadcast here.
Yes, sir.
Today is Friday, the 30th of June, 2023. Our next broadcast will be a week from today, on Friday, the 7th of July. We got I'll say a typical lineup for the broadcast today. We're going to start with a Warrior of the Week. We're going to have somebody here from FSS to talk to you a little bit more about Monday, which would be the 3rd of July, so birthday eve if you're tracking the calendar, summer bash and a few other things. However, our primary purpose in these town halls, having them on every duty day Friday, always at the same time and always 60 minutes in length, is to make sure you have a reliable, repeated opportunity to get comments, questions, critiques, anything you want to get to the installation or the wing command team. If we know the answer, Chief and I will immediately answer it for you. Often we have phone-a-friend helpers that are watching along the way, and they can get something by the end of the broadcast back. If that doesn't happen, or it's knowable but we don't have it or we can't get it, then we will get back to you, and we will post that in many ways, not the least of which would be a future town hall. If we can't tell you the answer, we won't. But we won't try to dance around it either. So that number, if you have a question or a comment or a critique or just want to dialogue with us, we love the dialogue, is area code 707-412-8922. And that's area code 707, like the big airplane that Boeing made, and we are still flying its legacy here in the KC-135 today.
Yes, sir.
412, as in the 412th Test Wing, and 8922 if you're tracking old-style cell phone texting, is TWCC. So that, Chief, I'll let you introduce our WOW. I'm excited to get to know a little bit more about No Way.
Yes, sir.
Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So over to you, Chief.
Yes, sir. We have today we have the pleasure to sit down with Mr. No Way. He is coming up to us from the Aircraft Structural Maintenance Technician in the 412th MXS. So I'm sure there's quite a few people out there watching from in your workspace, and they're excited to see you on here. It's a big deal to be nominated for this opportunity, and it's an awesome chance for us to hear and learn about you.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely.
It's an honor to get this WOW award. So.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So my name is Noah Marquez, like you guys know. I grew up out here, watching the airplanes fly. I've always said I wanted to work on them, and fortunately, around 2018, I was able to get into the aerospace industry and become a mechanic. And ever since then, I've loved my job, and I've just enjoyed, being able to work on them and see them take off and fly, and help and support the mission as best as I can.
That's awesome. There's got to be a certain level of fulfillment, right?
Oh,
to preparing that aircraft, and then getting some humans in there, and then watching it launch. It's got to feel good.
Yes, it's actually amazing. I wake up every day happy and excited to go to my job and enjoy working with my hands on the plane. And like you said, just being able to watch that plane take off and fly in the air is just something, it's just amazing to be a part of.
That's awesome.
So I'll full disclosure, I'm not a native of the Aerospace Valley. And if you're offended that I call it aerospace and not antelope, I would love to talk to you about that. Have you ever heard me say why I think it should be aerospace, not antelope? Have you heard that yet?
No, I have not yet.
Yeah. So you're native. You tell me if this jives with you.
Okay.
And if it doesn't, I'd like to hear it. I have actually heard no pushback. So it's labeled the Antelope Valley, but I like AV or Aerospace Valley because. Not just because we are actually seated on Edwards Air Force Base, which is the center of the aerospace testing universe, but because in the AV, the aerospace valley, I actually see a heck of a lot more airplanes and rockets and other things like that than I do antelope.
That's right.
And I was first here 20 years ago. So I think that's why it makes sense to me, but I'm not overly beholden to that. We actually did in the California state legislature, one of our local assemblymen pitched a bill that would have officially changed the name of the valley, and it didn't materialize. I don't know if it didn't make it to the floor or didn't get voted or not, but he thought it had a chance. I thought it did too, and then it didn't make it. So as a native of the valley, what do you think?
I actually like it. I think that's actually pretty awesome. I wouldn't be opposed to it at all, actually, for it to be changed to that, because you're totally right. I can't disagree with you, and I think it'd be pretty awesome.
And if you think about the long storied history of this valley,
Right.
and we're sitting on, hollow ground in a way, I like to call it, and the barriers have been broken. The first jet engine was tested here in America in the Air Force, and there's been lots of other first every day, that a lot of stuff we cannot unfortunately talk about openly. I think it's more, most fitting Aerospace Valley is where it's at.
Definitely.
The capabilities we've produced in this Aerospace Valley that you've watched and inspired you, which is amazing, to come here and be part of it. I think Aerospace, if there's anybody watching that has some say, let's get it changed. Aerospace Valley, let's go.
Let's do it.
So Noe, one of the questions I often get is, hey sir, you're a pilot, you're a test pilot, how many airplanes have you flown? Answer, I don't know the exact number, a few. What's your favorite? And my answer is the same. But before I tell you my answer to that question, which is what's your favorite airplane to fly, let me ask you, what's your favorite airplane to bang your knuckles on or work on parts for or do that?
I would have to say the B1. I just think that that plane just looks amazing, and I like the way that the wings can retract a little bit. For how big that plane is, it's pretty amazing to see everything that goes into that plane. I'd say I'm gonna say that one's my favorite one to work on so far.
So B1 is a crowd favorite, I assume, and if you haven't been, then we got to make sure we structure your work schedule to make sure it happens. But I assume you've been out on the flight line when a B1's taken off in full afterburner. Have you had that?
I don't think I have.
Oh my goodness, brother, that is on your bucket list.
Okay.
Especially if you're a B1 fan.
Yes.
4 F110 GE motors, full grunt, full afterburner.
It's got to be amazing.
It's a religious experience. It really is. I'm getting
I would love it.
Yeah,
I would
it's,
love to
there's
see
nothing
that.
like it.
It truly. And first time I watched a B1 fly airborne, it was, I believe it was at Dias. It was one of the operational bases.
Okay.
And the crew was doing patterns. They were pulling closed and just doing patterns. And every time they pull closed, there's this just massive airplane in full grunt with the landing gear down, which I never understood. But
Yeah, right.
what are you, in the Navy? I mean, come on. Anyway. But yes, it's truly an amazing thing to get to hear and feel that thing take off.
Oh yeah.
So cool. So do you want to know the answer to the question?
Yes, I would love to know your answer.
So this is going to be a little tongue in cheek, but I when asked, and it's a true answer, what's your favorite airplane to fly? And my answer is always the next one I get to fly.
Nice.
That's a very valid answer.
And okay, in the past, the ones that you've flown in the past, what's been your favorite? And I actually genuinely don't have an answer to that question, because I really have learned so much from each individual airplane that I've gotten to operate. And I learned something, for example, you learn something very different flying the P-51 than you do flying, I would argue, one of its successors, the F-16, and one of those successors, the F-35. Very different airplanes for different mission sets, and you learn a lot flying them, and they teach different things too. I have been humbled by more than my fair share of airplanes. I can tell you that. So my question to you on those lines is, what do you talked about how cool the B1 is, but what is it that you like about working on it, or what are your favorite things to do, or maybe your least favorite things to do when you get told, hey, go do that?
I would have to say, all of it in general, just new knowledge every day, constantly working on newer things all around the plane, whether it's tube bending to create a new hydro line for it, or a new skin repair for whatever the damage may be on it. I just really love it in general, just doing any of that type of stuff, because like I said, I love the knowledge that I'm learning every day coming here and doing it.
That's amazing, and that's that's what drives a lot of us, right? Is what's next and what we can do next. Do you think tell us a little bit about your family that you have here with you, here in the Antelope Valley.
Oh,
or
yeah.
Aerospace Valley.
Yeah, so most of my family out here, I have a sister that's she's an RN for the Tehachapi Hospital.
Wow.
I also have a brother he works here on base as well.
Oh, cool.
For the F-22s. He's actually a structures mechanic over there. We love it here, you know. We were born and raised in Gardena, California, and we moved out to the Antelope Valley, and then pretty much just loved it ever since I've been here. You know.
So one of the things that is exciting to me as a tester at Edwards Air Force Base is that when I look the next 5 months probably, but certainly the next 5 years or 15 years, and I look at what is tracking down the pipe, that we are going to get a chance to, you know, sharpen those tips of the spear, maybe, you know, enhance our nation's sword and shield a lot, and they happen to be airplanes. Yes. So B-21 is coming soon, right?
Oh, yes.
NGAD is something that's real, and it's going to move out, and it's little buddy collaborative combat aircraft. We heard the Secretary of the Air Force talk about that a lot on Wednesday. That is something we're going to have our hands all in.
Oh, yeah.
C-17 isn't going anywhere soon. We're going to continue to do KC-46 testing. The Secretary also mentioned the program. I had heard it once. I thought it was a joke, but he actually called it NGAS.
NGAS, yeah.
NGAS.
Yeah.
And then I think he tried to spell the acronym out and forgot it. But effectively, it's the next generation tanker, right? So we're gonna leap forward likely to a purpose-built tanker. Okay. So that will be done. A large part of that work, I'm sure, will be done here at Edwards. And we have T7 that's tracking inbound. So as you look at what is either on the ramp that you could jump to next, or as you look at what's soon to be on the ramp, you know, hey boss, the next airplane I'd like to work on or support is, what are you looking for to turn the wrenches on or supporting here, say 5, 8, 10 years from now?
To be honest with you, I just all of them. Anything that's coming my way, I would be excited for it. All of these airplanes are just amazing to work on, and like I said it before, I love it. I love being a part of as many as I could. Is basically would be my answer. You know, I would love to work on them all. Would be my favorite part to do in the next couple of years. You know, whether it's the B-21 or, like you said, the new tankers. I would enjoy it all.
Awesome. The interesting thing about what we talk about here a lot on this broadcast, folks that hear me speak or read what I write, I will talk a lot about STEM. I'll talk a lot about we as a nation, and we need to inspire and we need to convince a lot of kids that are going to have American passports, ages 3 to 13, that you want to take that tougher math class or you want to do that challenging vocational school or trade thing. You want to do that. You'll find a lot of enjoyment and a lot of benefit in that. They're great jobs. They're both rewarding, but the compensation is also pretty solid. And those bin into what we call STEM, so science, technology, engineering, and math. And I am here to point blank tell you, and Noah, I think you're a terrific example of this. A lot of people assume that when there's a guy talking to them that has a couple colleges that I've attended, they assume that requires you to have a highly technical degree and sometimes a master's degree. And I remind them, no, that is not in fact the case. There are a lot of people that walk through the gates and go, I want to join you, and I want to be a technologist. And you don't have to be an engineer to do you don't have to have an engineering degree to do engineering. And math is a language that we all use. Yes. Do you think of yourself as a person in a STEM field, or when you went back to high school or before, did you, I aspired to be STEM? I think I know the answer, but I'm curious in your thoughts.
No, not really, actually. You know, I did have to, think ahead and see how, at first I was thinking that I would have to go that route to do it. But after looking into it more and more, like you said, it wasn't really as difficult as I thought. You'd have to go through a lot of jump through hoops and steps to get to it. It's just working your way, as far as like just doing your research and realizing what you really have to do and knowing what you can know. And, just go ahead and set yourself up for success and just apply. Just apply and apply and I believe you'll get there.
It's good stuff. So I would even say stronger than that. Apply yourself and you're gonna get there. And I think you're a great testament to that as well. Right. My foot stomp in highlighting you is that There are a lot of folks like you that are maybe a little jealous because they don't get the serious beard, but you work side by side with a lot of airmen that wear the military uniform, not the civilian uniform, but you're airmen all, that are in the STEM fields, and you don't have to be a college graduate. If you want to go back and pick that up, fantastic. But there's a lot of opportunity here at Edwards for anybody in the STEM career fields, whether you think about it as STEM or not. But so much of what we do is STEM or STEM related. So with that as my preamble to this question, if we were to put you in a classroom in, say, like 5th or 6th graders here on Edwards Air Force Base at the Muroc Joint Unified School District, and those kids were, native or moved here early in life, so this is all they've known, and they said, yeah, I like living here, I like the things, I love the sonic booms. What would you tell those 5th and 6th graders about the opportunities available here on Edwards and in specifically the maintenance squadron?
I would tell them to, continue following their dreams and go to school and to do the STEM program, because it would help them out a lot, and it would definitely set them right. But there are numerous classes and stuff like that as well. There's the AFAB classes that you can take at the Antelope Valley College, or there's actually classes at the high school as well, where we bring seniors in to our sheet metal room and show them how to fab up our pieces and show them what sheet metal is all about and how to do it, and it pretty much sets them up for success. So when they're ready, they can go out and pursue their career and what they want to do.
Yeah. So we don't coordinate these questions, folks, I promise. But
no, not at all.
One of the things that Noah just highlighted is that if you're a student on base at Edwards at 93523, fortunate enough to be on base here at Edwards, you can literally go TK, maybe even cradle if you're in the CDC, but you can go TK through 12, graduate from 12th grade with, we can't call them interns, I can't remember what they call the students, but basically job shadowing, I think is kind of what it calls. You can job shadow in the maintenance squadron, actually doing real work on airplanes, immediately graduate, quickly thereafter get hired, and you can be a 20, 30, 40, 50-year government civil servant, working with your hands, making great American air power fly every day.
Yes.
And that's pretty cool.
Yeah. What an opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. So age 4 to 84 or 4 to 54, right? All in the same place, supporting the same mission around just awesome people with
amazing.
Great purpose. So, and we're blessed to have one of those awesome people that are in the community that you would get to spend time with. And I know you're going to say I'm humbled and honored to be here, but congratulations.
Thank
It's really
you.
cool to get to spend a little time with you. Your squadron director, Mr. Nate Dixon, is very proud of you.
Yes.
And he has a few people to choose from when he sends us a nominee.
Yes.
And he picked you. So
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm very thankful for it.
Okay, so the last thing that I always give a wow, and since there were two of you, there's not two of you, there's just you today. The last thing I ask is, what questions do you have for me or for Chief? And I'll let you ask two. It could be two to the Chief.
Okay. Well,
So what do you want to know?
I would like to know, what motivated you guys to get into the military?
That's interesting. So if I can go first, sir, it's interesting. So my father served in the Air Force, security forces. They didn't call it that, quite security forces back in the day. And it was always kind of a push on me as an option, right? And let's just be real, right? My life wasn't really going anywhere at the time. Working a dead-end job, trying to get out of where I was. I just wanted to get away. And I had this Air Force idea kind of imprinted on me as an option. Okay. So I was working a couple odd jobs, UPS, outbound freight, loading trucks. Not that it's a bad job, just the job that probably doesn't have a lot of upward mobility. I mucked horse stalls, I put in pools, did a little bit of everything. And eventually made the right decision 26 years ago-ish to go and sign my name. I was going to do 4 years and just try it out.
Okay.
Then things happen. At that 4-year point when the enlistment's about to end, I had car payments, I had bills, I had a new baby. That kind of pulled me through my first enlistment. Okay. Then I kind of hit, and there's probably not enough time on this program to go into it, but I hit what I call, you can call it, define it however you wish, but an epiphany or a nirvana moment. Like, I'm here for a reason. I need to take care of people. And the story is much longer. It's probably not appropriate for here, but I like to tell it when I do have time. But it was just that moment where things turned, and I love what I do. I love watching people achieve stuff that they thought they couldn't. And it's really pretty awesome to be part of something way bigger than yourself. And earning, in my opinion, earning your place in this country in the freedoms that we enjoy, that a lot of us, take for granted in some cases. And part of that's the imprinting too from my family.
So Noe, my how or why did I decide to join? I went to a very expensive school for college my freshman year. I literally ripped through all the cash I had saved in my first year, maybe even my first semester. Wow. And my parents were, good luck, because we don't know how you're going to pay. We don't have anything else to help you with. And if you don't get a scholarship to pay for year 2, 3, and 4, then come on back to the local community college for your sophomore year. Yeah. And so very early in my freshman year, I walked into the Air Force ROTC detachment at my university and said, hey, as I recall, you give out scholarships?
Yeah.
And they said, in fact, we do. Are you interested? Yes. Here's what you need to do to apply. And I literally walked through the doors as a volunteer in that ROTC detachment in the fall of 1989. I'm not sure I want to know where you or our next guest were in 1989, but I graduated and was commissioned just a little over 30 years ago. There's a colloquialism that I hear a lot. People join for benefits or join for reasons. And in my case, I guess it was joining for scholarship, and quickly it became, I'm really glad I have a job after I graduated, because a lot of my classmates were worried legitimately about having work. But then when your opportunities, your ADSCs, if you're an officer, your enlistment as a member, and certainly you're part of the Big A Airmen, there'll be opportunities where you go, you know what, this is a chance for me to transition away and do something. And a lot of us do that. I would argue a lot of us that do that also boomerang back in some manner.
Yes, sir.
But often the reason that people that boomerang back or that they choose to stay is they stay for the people, or they stay for the mission, or because their life and their family and their team just really enjoys doing what they do. And so the reason I join is often not the reason that I continue to remain or continue to vote in. But eventually we all have to step aside, and mine will be sooner than Chief's, and I think ours will be a little bit sooner than yours. But that's a relatively long answer to your short question, but those are good.
No, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got one more.
Okay. Where do you see you guys yourselves in the next 10 years?
So I'm going to hit that one first. I have no clue, right, where I'm going to see in 10 years. I tell people when they ask, hey, what are you going to do next? And I say, well, I'm going to practice doing nothing.
Ooh.
And then I'll see how long that lasts.
Yes,
That's what I'm intending to do next. And there's a lot of things that I'll do while I'm doing nothing, but that's my hope and that's my intent. So, Chief, what are you doing next, or where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5 years, yeah, that's probably 10 might be. So I like to say it's probably not the best way to portray it, but the Air Force, the end of the Air Force, or the divorce is the words I use, is coming. There just comes to a point where, especially wearing a uniform, where you reach a maximum amount of time where they'll let you serve.
Right.
So 10 years will definitely be beyond the amount of time they'll let me continue doing this.
Okay.
So let's say the next. I really hope that if it's the right thing and the right person that needs me, I can go forth and be a star-wearing command chief at
similar shape.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's similar shape. A star-wearing command chief at the right wing, at the right place, and the right time, to move a mission forward, not unlike I'm getting the opportunity to do here with General Higer.
That's awesome.
So my hope in the 10-year horizon is that in 10 years you're just continuing to rock it here. Eventually somebody's going to have to replace Nate Dixon at the helm of the maintenance squadron.
There you go.
And there's a whole bunch of opportunities lateral to that in between here and there too. And go home, go to your neighborhood, go to your school, go and talk to everybody else about how awesome it is being an airman that wears a civilian uniform.
Most definitely.
And you're a great example of that. Hey, thanks for being here, Noe.
Yeah, thank you.
Good to meet you a little bit.
I appreciate you guys having me on.
Thanks. I appreciate everything you do, and that's a literal truth. Thanks for joining the team and staying on the team. I ran some quick math that about it's less than 1% of Americans are in the Department of Defense.
Yes, sir.
Way less than 1%.
Wow.
Yeah, and the numbers of the folks that wear the uniform are less than 0.5%, and even when you pile on all the government civilians like you, it's still less than 1% of Americans. And that's a 1% I'm really proud to be a part of, especially with awesome people like you.
Absolutely.
So thanks.
Yes, sir.
Have a great weekend,
Hey.
and happy Friday.
You too.
All right, take care.
All
Nice
right.
meeting you.
So while we change out our guests on stage, as a reminder, if you have something that you want to get to us or a question you have for us, 707-412-8922. An example of one of those questions that we got a while back, and when it surfaced to me, it was a little odd because I didn't quite understand the context of it. That question was, hey, why are we no longer allowing DoD retirees on base? And that was the question
right,
that
yes,
surfaced.
sir.
And I get that. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand that. So we picked at that question, not just the question, but the answer to the question. And we believe, and if we're off on this, teammates, we believe that what occurred earlier in 23 that drove that question was the Deputy Secretary of Defense has said, we will no longer issue DoD retiree ID cards.
Yes, sir.
We're going to stop issuing ID cards. And anyone that has a DoD-issued retiree ID card for civilians, and I get it specified, these are civilian retirees, those are no longer valid for base access as of sometime later in 2023. That doesn't mean that you are not worthy of access to the base.
Absolutely,
That doesn't
yes,
mean
sir.
that we don't want you to continue to be a part of the team and participating in our heritage and all the other great contributions that you make as a DoD retiree, whether you retired from Edwards or other places. So the path forward, I believe we have well trod, or at least we know the path forward. I think it's going to be well trod.
Yes, sir.
Will be defined in some detail next week at our next week's town hall. But it effectively boils down to you will eventually have to have a real ID compliant driver's license.
Yes, sir.
California will be one of the latter states to finish the rollout of that. If I were to show you mine right now, which I won't, but mine is real ID compliant from another state other than California. That will be then recorded in the DBID system along with your SF50 or some other credential that shows you're a DoD retiree, and that will then enable you access to the base as if you had an ID card. So the real benefit from that question was that I learned that a change had happened, and how do we fully implement with minimum impact to everyone there is the benefit of the person that asked that question. And the bottom line is that it's one less card civilian retirees have to carry in their wallets or
Yes,
worry about losing or other things like that. And I think there's a lot of goodness and greatness in that. So we'll give you more details on that next week.
And sir, it's a perfect example how the questions you post in here can turn into action or educate us on stuff that we don't know about, and we can make it better.
Yeah, absolutely. And another example of that, I heard it from somebody recently, was, hey, what's this about Friday T-shirts and flight suits? And I
Yes,
said,
sir,
that's a
that's
great
right.
question.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Chief, can you go look this up? And in fact, the answer is, as of May 31st, you can no longer wear Friday T-shirts and a flight suit.
Yes.
Morale patches are authorized, but T-shirts no more, so they all look like this on Friday.
Yes, sir. Across the board.
No matter what your uniform is. If you want more details on that, let us know who you are and we'll get information back to you. But it's a recent change. All right, we've swapped out. We have another guest.
Right.
Captain Flanagan, it's great to be with you.
Hi, thanks for having me, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Those of you that recognize Captain Nicole Flanagan, you actually go by Nikki, or you've just been nice and responded when I call you Nikki?
I go by Nikki.
Beautiful.
Excellent.
The first like real, we got a big lift to lift that Captain Flanagan and I did was this little tiny thing. It was a small little party that we hosted for a couple of our neighbors and friends, right? Let me see, how many was it? Oh, it was 120,000 people, right? And so compared to 120,000 people hosted at the open house, 23,000 folks in the STEM event, and all the stuff you did supporting the air show portion of that, Monday's like no big deal, right? But we are here to talk about Summer Bash, and that is Monday the 3rd of July. So
Yes, sir.
over to you to talk about what FSS, the squadron that you're a proud rep of, is doing for the rest of the community on the eve of our nation's birthday. So
Yes,
over to
sir.
you.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here and to tell you guys about what FSS is doing for y'all. So on the 3rd of July, we are actually going to have our annual Summer Bash, and it's going to be at Wings Field. It's right next to the bowling alley, if you know where that is. We're going to have all kinds of fun stuff for y'all. We are going to have amazing music by Beatlemania.
Yeah.
A little ironic, but we're going to go with it, right?
Yeah.
And then food, we're going to have tacos, taco trucks. So what's a fair without a taco truck? And then all of our amazing private organizations on base are actually bringing all of their different food. And there's snow cones and fair food and fried stuff, Oreos, all of that good stuff for you guys to eat and consume. And then, of course, we're going to have games. Our FSS Arts and Crafts team is actually going to be doing a lot of face painting and handing out crafts for people to do on their own if they just get bored and want to do. I don't know if you can get bored at this thing, but I mean, if you can, then we got crafts for you as well. Additionally, we are going to be fielding for the first time our axe throwing trailer.
Nice.
And we're actually doing it free of charge to the base. So please come out and try our axe throwing trailer. It's going to be amazing, and I'm sure nothing will go wrong. Don't tell base safety. No, I'm just kidding. We already cleared it with them. That's fine. But our axe throwing trailer is going to be really cool. It's a really good opportunity to use those new Unite funds. So we want people to go out and try it and see what it's all about. We worked really hard to field that for you guys.
Yeah, so if we can go back to the chart deck real fast on the food. I mean, so yes, absolutely taco trucks, but surf and turf, shaved ice, multiple taco trucks. And then the private orders are going to have all kinds of other things like churros and drinks and cheesecake and strawberry shortcake and you name it, right? Lots of pictures, and I'm getting really hungry.
Yes, sir.
And I
Me
look
too.
forward to Monday night. Can you go back up one chart there? It's the parking chart.
There we go.
So if you're watching this on a device, quickly take a screenshot of that. Wings Field is the field that's literally behind the bowling alley. You can see bowling alley, and then parking for the bowling alley would be overflow. You can park down some of the streets over towards the what's the name of that pool, Nikki?
Sonic Pool.
Sonic Pool, yes. And that's Fam Camp that's on the left side of the chart there. But it's behind the baseball diamonds, and it's where we have traditionally had these events. There's also a couple of large parking lots, I don't know, like at the BX, which are not too far away if you decide to walk or choose to walk that far. And so that's where it is, and parking for it. And then, it's not a nation's birthday party without big bangs in the sky.
Yes.
You got to be
Yes.
there by when to see that up close and in person?
I was like, that is going to be right after 9 o'clock. We're going to start letting that fly. So
Cool.
make sure to be there by 9 for a few words, and then we're going to go and shoot them off.
Fantastic. All right, great time. I've been to multiple summer bashes in a row. In 2020 was a huge deal to be able to do something like this. 2021 even better. Last year was phenomenal, and then this year is certainly going to live up to all the hype. Captain Flanagan, I'm very proud of this. I'm super helpful that you're here, and we've had a good chance to talk about it for a couple weeks.
Thank you, sir.
Any advice or thoughts you want to get to the team before I let you get going and enjoy your very short weekend before a family day that's actually a work day for all of FSS?
Oh, it's going to be great. I can't wait.
Sweet. Folks, one of the things that I want to highlight to you is that we think about, many of us, especially the uniform folks, often think about a weekend like this with a family day of the 3rd of July and the holiday as Tuesday the 4th. Oh, great, 4-day weekend.
Yes, sir.
But what a lot of us, I think, understand, but many of us don't directly appreciate, is that there are a lot of squadrons and a lot of people in those squadrons in the mission support group, right?
Yes, sir.
Proud to be.
MSG, yes, sir.
Yes, that they work weekends no matter whether they're 2 days, 3 days, or 4 days. And when they're 4-day weekends and they include a holiday like July 4th, that's generally going to be an extra work day or extra hard work day for a squadron like FSS. So to your brand new commander, Major Johnson, and to all the flight commanders and chiefs and all the leaders, thank you for serving us on a family day such that we may enjoy it. And then I've directed them to take their own time, to take a knee on days later in the week after July 4th so that we can recuperate and reconstitute within the FSS as well. So if you see something closed on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, talk to me about that. And that was to give
Come
the
see
FSS.
me too.
Yep, that was to give
help
the
you out.
FSS team the break after they prepped for and then executed what I'm sure is going to be an awesome summer bash on Monday.
Yes. Thanks, sir.
You bet, Captain Flanagan. Appreciate you joining us. I think that gets us to another chart that Chief wants to talk about. So if you go to the parade.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
then, Chief, I'll let you talk to I'll let you trump this up.
Yes, sir. Speaking of the folks that will be here working while a lot of us are enjoying our time off, we're going to have a parade for all base residents or those with base access. It's a kids parade with where the kiddos can decorate their bicycles, scooters, wagons, strollers, things like that, and show their patriotic spirit. We did it last year. It was the first time we got to do it. Great showing. We're thinking the Edward Spouses Club is thinking it's going to be even a bigger showing this year, and they're adding some stuff, some popsicles. They're going to have a lemonade stand, all free, by the way. Watermelons, the water splash, some things, slip and slides, and temporary tattoos for the kiddos. But back to the folks that are working that weekend, they were graciously able to include them in this parade to make sure not only it's safe, but it's really fun. So we're going to have the defenders out there in the patrols, and the fire department's going to come out with some trucks. And I've been told they're going to do a static afterwards so the kiddos can crawl around the vehicles. I know they love that, so it's going to be really cool.
All right, we've got some other announcements that we want to get to, but we did just get a question in, and that it's perfect, right? That Captain Flanagan is here to answer the question. So the question in from the crowd is, hey, I hear something's going on with 24 access to the gym. So let me take you back to the 24 access thing. I actually have a card in my pocket that is a swipe access to the gym. To get one of those, you have to meet certain eligibility criteria, certain age. We prioritize active duty members. You have to sign an agreement that you'll be careful and you accept the risk, because if you're in there, like Chief often does, he's lifting a few hundred pounds off the bench press by himself, and he doesn't quite get it. There's nobody there to spot it.
That's right.
So it's
So
those
I go light those days. Yes, sir.
Right. And so that is a tremendous capability that we generally have the luxury of doing for those of us that are eligible. But I guess there's a question about, is it down? What's the status of it, and how long might it be down? Nikki, I think you got an answer for that, or at least a prediction. So over to you.
Sir, I absolutely have an answer to that. So our system unfortunately malfunctioned today at 2 o'clock. And so because of that, we are going to actually staff through the weekend. We're going to be open from 0800 in the morning until 1600 so that people can still use the gym even though our system is down. So we're working to fix it, but we're trying to provide services in the meantime.
So that'll be, until the system's back up, staffing Saturday, Sunday, and potentially even Tuesday.
Saturday through Tuesday, we'll be staffed.
Awesome.
Wow.
So another great example of how FSS is really a service for support squadron, right? So here for you, and that is their mission. So Captain Flanagan, thanks. And I think it's perfect that question popped up, and you were here to answer it and had it. So the phone friends aren't always on the phone. Sometimes they're actually in the studio
here
with us.
Yeah, thank you
It was
for being
perfect.
here,
Chief, I'm going to let you flip through a couple charts.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Put on your MSG hat, and if Captain Flanagan wants to pile on a couple, she's certainly welcome to as well. So I see a 5K on the 3rd. I'm assuming that starts at the gym?
Yes, sir. It starts at the gym. You can work off those
Can you go
steps
to the
before
charts,
the
please?
fried Oreos.
Fried Oreos.
Oh.
So
having fried Oreos.
run in the morning, and then and lower your guilt for eating fried.
Yeah, there we go.
fried Oreos.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. That was our strategy.
You can earn plenty of fried foods that way
Absolutely.
in the 5K, at least one or two.
Start time is what I see on the chart. Start time at 6:30. Just meet in the parking lot outside the base gym.
Yes, sir.
The last events that I was in that were 5K, I think they were 5K-ishes, were 2 color runs earlier in the month of June that were there. Lots of paths, lots of trails, and lots of routes to run, and that's a great time of day to run around these parts. That's cool. I like it. All right, what's the next one?
All right, surf lessons. This is something we've been working on in FSS and across the wing, really, is to extend opportunities. And if you notice there, it's a little bit hard to see. It's $20 for R4R. What's R4R, if you don't mind, Captain Flanagan?
Recharge for resiliency.
Yes, that's right.
So that's for any airmen who have come back from a deployment at any point can then go ahead and use this to kind of recharge and refocus to get back and reacclimate into normal life.
Awesome. It's $20 for surf lessons. I kind of wish I was in that in that demographic to pay
I think
20.
I heard Chief volunteered for deployment. That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Dude, Tiffany may be watching. We can't say that, sir.
Perfect. That's perfect.
But even still, without that benefit, it's $125 for all others. So relatively low cost. It's an awesome opportunity, and another real good example of what FSS does.
So R4R, Nikki, do you happen to know how people get? Is it a little badge they get? Is it a card, or they just have to? Hey, I deployed X many days ago. How do they get that?
Honor system.
Sweet.
If I'm being completely frank, that
Of
is
course,
that is
yeah.
what it is.
I mean, it is integrity first. Last time I checked, so yeah, we're good
sir.
with that. What's the look back? 3 months, 6 months?
It's to be in the past year, but
Okay.
we're flexible.
Awesome. All right. For those of you that don't know, we still are ready today to deploy today to fight tonight. A lot of defenders go out and back.
Yes, sir.
Quite a few people from the Force Support Squadron, LRS, medics send a few folks out, and then we get random cats and dogs, one here, one there, that are distributed amongst the rest of the wing. But cool. I learned that today. I didn't know what that meant. Glad you're here for that, Chief.
Yes,
All right.
sir.
The next one. Auto Hobby Shop, next Friday, $5.
And basic car maintenance, right? So this is a skill that a lot of folks don't have, quite honestly. You know, they get into a situation where maybe I need to change the battery on my car because it no longer works because the heat, you know, the heat here has killed my battery. They don't know how to do it. So you go into Auto Hobby Shop over there. It's a wonderful facility. I've been over there a few times working on my vehicles, trying to save a couple bucks on oil changes and things like that. We have professionals over there that know what they're doing. They're ASC certified, and they can impart their knowledge on you for basic car maintenance. It's an awesome opportunity. It's $5. I mean, and you can even bring your teenagers with you and get them, you know, smarter on how to do those things also. So take advantage of this. And if you haven't been over to our Auto Hobby Shop, go check them out. They'd be more than happy to show you around.
Okay. It's not quite all FSS all the time, but this is a good time for us to talk about what the squadron does for us. Real quick, Captain Flanagan, I believe I have the answer to that. So the question that popped in was, will contractors have access to the gym? My current understanding of contractor access to the gym is that as long as we're not at capacity, if you're on the base, you have access to the gym. Is that still a valid assessment or status for contractors?
Sir, they don't have access inside of the gym. They have access to all of our external components. So anything outside, contractors, you have full reign. Go out there, have a good time, work out. Inside the facility, we have limited it to active duty, DoD civilians, dependents, just because of our size limitations.
So great question, and whoever that called that in, I hope that answers your question. One of the things that we hope to be able to do as we mature and grow the gym, he's now a retired 4-star. When Captain Arnie Bunch was here as a student at Test Pilot School, the gym was on the MILCON list to be replaced. That's been a minute.
Yes.
It is still on
Lots
the
of minutes.
MILCON list to be replaced. I actually intend, and I think my replacement and my replacement's replacement will continue to leave it on that list. It's a valid requirement. But in a very limited resource environment, gyms like ours are likely not going to hit that list. However, we do have the ability to upgrade and modify a few $1 million of the gym at a time. And as we are able to modify that and grow it a little bit, I can see a future in years, not months, but years where we actually remove or reduce some of those capacity constraints and capacity limitations and potentially open up hours as well. And I know your last commander, and I'm sure your current commander too, are pretty fired up about that. And that I look forward to coming back and seeing some of the changes to the gym in a year or two with that. So if that doesn't answer your question, the person that asked it, please ask for a reattack, and we'll get back to you. All right. How about we give FSS 1 or 2 more slides? We got a long. Who's the shop that does these in the squadron, in your squadron?
The advertisements?
Yeah.
Our marketing team.
Yeah, the marketing
Yes.
team.
Award-winning.
I love they are,
Yes,
no joke.
absolutely award-winning.
Let's go to First Friday since these are somewhat chronological. First Friday is quite literally every first Friday of the month. It happens to be a week from today, July 7th, and then as you can see, August 4th and September 8th. There's if you are an FSS insider, which would be the old club member, but
sir.
it isn't just at the club, it's now at all FSS facilities. I am a proud FSS insider. My family and I have been that for many years now. There are some bennies that you get there, but in addition to that, it's just a good time. Hey, look, it's the first Friday of the month. Let's go hang out with the team. The splash pad in the back of the club is going to be active in the not too distant future. I'm excited about that. Good use of that pool area, which we couldn't use, which we can now. And then a lot of other things happening in and around Club Muroc. So next Friday is the July 7th First Friday. On August 4th, on that First Friday, just before First Friday kicks off, will be the end of a farewell for somebody that I'm aware of. And
Yes,
so
sir.
I intend to be, I know I'll be at the one on August 4th. And September 8th, I probably won't be, however.
That's right.
So
Yes,
I'll
sir.
leave it at that. So those are the next 3 First Fridays. Look forward to seeing you there next Friday and a month and a week from now as well.
And I do believe, I may be wrong, so stop me, we may have a new look over in First Friday in the bar, Fogelman's.
Oh, yes,
bar area.
Fogelman's.
Yes.
How's
Yeah.
that upgrade going?
It looks beautiful. We're so excited to field it for you guys.
Yeah, are we going to pop the cork on that, so to speak, on Friday? Is that the plan, or is it going to be a little later than that?
That is the plan.
Awesome.
All right. So you heard it here, folks. And if not, it was Chief's fault, not
Yes,
not,
yeah,
not
I-
Captain Flanagan's.
I was like, come for me. It's like it was me.
You can blame it on me if it's not ready.
Yeah, all right.
I did take a small peek in there.
I have not.
Full
I have-
disclosure.
I have not
It looks
peeked.
cool.
I have not peeked.
And it really looks amazing in there.
Good stuff.
I think people are going to be surprised when they walk in. And
Really, really good stuff.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, sir.
so we'll leave the rest of the FSS marketing charts in a place that people can get a hold of them if they want to download them and look at them. The marketing team does a great job, and they do a great job leveraging people like me and Chief and staff meetings and other things like that as well. But you can get a hold of all that by going to a couple FSS locations that are in Cyberland. Where do you recommend people go if they want to not wait for a town hall to figure out what's going on in FSS world?
Any of our socials, Instagram, Facebook, the FSS website, any of our facilities, we have ads going all the time. Call FSS. We'll be happy to tell you about everything going on.
Fantastic.
Perfect.
All right. Thanks for being here, Captain Flanagan. Get the rest you can over the weekend and certainly enjoy the downtime after the 4th. Happy Friday.
You too, sir.
All right. Folks, we got about 10 minutes or so here. Lots of thoughts and lots of things that I'd like to discuss, but this is an opportunity for you to ask any questions or provide us any feedback or inputs that you have. I think it's really important for us to talk about the impact of the week that just happened.
Yes,
So, Chief, there's a question in, but I was going to talk about a
Perfect.
guy named Frank anyway. It happens to
Yeah.
be Mr. Secretary to you and me.
Yes, sir.
I was honored that he decided to detour up from his Plant 42 time on Wednesday. So what did you get out of the SecAF's visit here, and what were your impressions?
Personally, for me, it kind of brought some stuff together. You think about the source, right, of what our Air Force is, where our Air Force is going and where it's headed. He's the author of it. So all the stuff that he was talking about, it came from his gray matter, and that's really amazing. In what I really pulled out of it, sir, was every single one of the elements he talked about. It's happening here in one way or another. So really this, and I don't know you can say that for other installations,
Yeah,
where every single imperative is being answered at a single location. And
yeah.
that's here.
In the words of the most recent FSS commander, 100%, Chief.
Yes, sir. Thank
Right?
you.
Yeah. When you look at so the Secretary of the Air Force, go read Secretary Kendall's bio or background if you have not. Literally a great American, West Point grad, Army officer, retired Army reservist, senior civilian. He's bounced in and out of industry for fun. He told me for fun. In his early 50s, he went back to law school.
Wow.
Night school.
Jeez.
Yeah. So just truly an amazing professional life. My dedicated personal time has been quite limited, but not zero. And every time I've seen him in his current job over the last couple years, he's very consistent. He's very much on message, but he's not static. And he gives that message whether he's in an all-call like he had with us on base here at the theater with overflow out into the parking lot, right? That was awesome that FSS was able to get the tents and PA was able to get the speakers and all that stuff. And that was a great event for him. He got a lot out of it. I think he takes back at least as much as he gives to us in an event like that. But every time I hear him speak, whether it's an all-call or members of Congress or an AFA speech or something else like that, he's very consistent. He's very on message. He basically says the same thing to every audience, and I find that candor and that consistency very appropriate. It allows the rest of us to go, yes, I get that. Yes, I understand that. One of the beautiful things about the all-call, and it's always great for me to hear the questions that another person on stage gets asked, but I thought the people that asked the questions were asking very targeted, very on-point
Absolutely.
questions.
And those were not preceded questions.
Yeah, so Secretary Kendall said, hey, it's time for questions now, and I know there's some platted ones out there, so please don't at least read it while you're asking me. I escorted him back to his airplane back at Plant 42, and I said, Mr. Secretary, I promise we planted no questions.
That's right.
And he said, Matt, I could tell that after the first one, which I couldn't answer. So they were legit. They were good questions, and they gave him an opportunity to hear what was on our minds, and then answer the question and potentially give a little bit more context, or give this is what you asked me, and I'll answer your question, but let me give you just a little bit more. And a lot of those were very appropriate, and I thought very on target. For example, and it tied in nicely with his back to law school in midlife. He talked about the master's degree. Unmasking advanced degrees for officers, and he said, "Yeah, I did it a little faster." Like, holy cow! It was an immediate Band-Aid rip that happened.
Yeah.
It was very early in 2023. A lot of the promotion recommendation forms for the lieutenant colonel, I can't remember if it was the lieutenant colonel or the major's board, but one of the boards had already been submitted, and then boom, the memorandum of instruction to the promotion board gets an update, and it's advanced degrees unmasked.
Yeah.
And I thought his explanation of the why in the town hall was exceptional, and it was, look, you don't get a master's degree or a PhD or a JD or something to check a box.
That's right.
You go to grad school because it's something you're interested in, something you like doing, maybe it's something you can do for your next career, or maybe it's something you want to do that is going to advance your current job, or maybe we send you to go get it, and it isn't just. We actually send, in some small cases, we send enlisted members to get advanced degrees. A lot of officers have opportunities, but we also send civilians to get advanced degrees too. So there are many ways you can go get that master's degree, but get it, and here was his message, that I heard at least. Go get that advanced degree because you want that.
Yes.
Don't get it because you think that's what you need to get promoted. Because candidly, if you get a degree just for that, it's going to be a waste of your time, and it's probably not going to help your promotion opportunities anyway.
That's right. Yes, sir.
So I thought that was a good example of some more context he gave one of the questions. So what else? What else did you get? What else did you get out of the SecAF for the whole visit there?
So going back to who he is and where, like you said all the accolades, and just a great American, right? And started out in the Army and going to West Point, I believe, Army officer. He answered why, and nobody asked him. He told us why he came back to be the Secretary of the Air Force, and he said it's because of the culture. I thought that was powerful.
It was.
Right. Obviously, his trajectory was going Army, Army Service Academy. But he said he wanted to come to the Air Force because of the culture. I thought that was amazing.
It truly was. The first time. The first time that I heard him speak after he had been confirmed as the secretary, he got asked, hey, Mr. Secretary, what are your priorities? And he said, I have 3 priorities: China, China, China. Mm-hmm. He continues to stay on that message. Many of you have heard me talk about how I think China is a very appropriate abbreviation or summary for what I know his priorities to be. And I think I'm confident that Secretary Kendall agrees with this next statement, so I'll amplify it. When he says China, he literally means the Chinese Communist Party, the People's Republic of China. He does not mean the Chinese diaspora that's in America doing awesome things for America and doing awesome things for us that are Americans as you and I are, Chief. He does not mean Taiwan, which is also China, the Republic of China. He does not mean those. In fact, those are partners, and not, I guess, official allies, but those are partners of ours that we have pledged to defend.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Right? And it also doesn't mean other folks like that. So I think his focus is great. The words are certainly, they resonate. But we need to all keep in mind that the adversary is not Chinese people.
Yes, sir.
The adversary is the Chinese Communist Party, the party, and the system that runs the People's Republic of China. And then by extrapolation, their People's Liberation Army, their rocket forces, their army, their navy, those kinds of things.
Yes,
right. It's not the people, it's the organization or the system that we are in a strategic competition with. One of the things, I spent the morning with him at a defense forum hosted by Congressman Garcia. And I was there when Secretary Kendall made his remarks. And Congressman Garcia had a comment on something like, we need to ensure that we keep pace with China, which I don't disagree with that. But Secretary Kendall was like, with all due respect to the congressman, he's right. But you know what I want? I want us to continue to dust them.
Yes.
Right. I want us to put them in the rearview mirror because that's the way that we protect our interests and those of our partners and allies as well. So it was great stuff. I got a lot out of Wednesday.
I did too, sir. It was super valuable, and I'm glad that we had the opportunity out here and far away from a lot of things for him to come out and speak to us directly.
Yes, we spent a little time in the vault in the headquarters building. It's in the vault. Probably not going to talk about that.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Bounced from there to test pilot school. Really good introduction, I think, for the secretary to where we've been. Real quick, where we've been, where are we now, which is a tremendous place, and then that is the springboard into the future of testers. Highlighted that Colonel Pabone's in her last couple weeks. TPS changed command Friday the 21st of July. The day prior is the OG changed command. And then after that, the replacements. So Colonel Fangs Valpiani at TPS and Colonel Ryan Sanford at OG. They are both on site. They're both checked in, and they are ripping and roaring and ready to go. And I'm excited about both and to see where they take their units. All right. Yes, we're closing in on time. There's I'll say a remark, a reminder, or a question. What's the plan for the 5th of July? The 5th of July is a day back after a 4-day weekend. Generally speaking, that's a throttle back into operations. It's also the Wednesday of a 3-day week. There are a couple things that we've piled on that day. It's not necessarily a training day, although there's a lot of training that's going to happen. A couple things that I dropped on that date. I dropped on that date the second part or the continuation of our security stand-down day.
Yes, sir.
We're going to have, it's already been discussed and built and briefed and blessed. Group commanders, directors, squadron commanders, directors are going to find a place and a time and a venue to go through with all of the units, OPSEC training, and tailor it to what each unit can and should be doing, and hopefully solicit some opportunities from their organizations on where we could do things better, or maybe where we could clarify better on how we can best communicate what we do and best communicate things that are appropriate to talk about, and then not give away any information to our adversary that we ought not to be giving away, whether it's classified or just something that's, I'll say, controlled and classified information, or even just unclassified things that can be amalgamated or aggregated. Yes. So that's the discussion for the second part of our security stand-down day, the afternoon of 5 July. The conversations will likely remain at the CUI level as a worst case, but there'll be a lot of good thought and a lot of good discussion there. In addition to that, I directed, probably 2 months ago, I directed a rated all call. At that rated all call, we're going to talk about deployments. 24.1 is that affects rated officers in the 412 Test Wing. I've coordinated with, given some direction to the current operations group commander, Colonel Mizell. He's moved out on that for 24.1. And then we've got somebody in from AFMC A3 that's going to talk about bigger AF4 Gen updates and items like that as part of the rated all call. And then there's a few other things that I want to hit in that forum on the 5th, which is Wednesday, the 5th of July. So that's probably all I need to push or want to push out about Wednesday. That's 4 days from now, but 0 duty days.
Yes, sir.
It's for most of us, not all of us. So love on your defenders, love on your FSS folks, love on your CE teams, those that are working in all the other service organizations, whether they're DECA, whether they're an AFIS concessionaire, or other things like that. Thank them for serving us on the long weekend as well.
Yes, sir.
And I know that they will appreciate it. So Chief, next week, we are going to have the resident VA liaison, so Veterans Affairs liaison here.
That's relatively new, and that's a big deal. We used to have to go pretty far as Bakersfield to reach a Veterans Administration liaison. So we have one right here on base, and we're going to bring him on next week to introduce that person and let you know awareness that they're available here for us.
Well, and as I mentioned, we're going to have all the details on that civilian retiree CAC card. Yes. And it isn't a CAC card. It's a civilian retiree identification card. Effectively, it's getting the DBIDS system to recognize the ID that you present to allow you onto base. Hey, welcome back. Glad you're here.
Yes, sir.
For the entry controller at the gate. And then the last one is one I'll say that your predecessor kicked off before she sailed off into the sunset. More information about tests today. So, Chief, you got any more details you want to launch now, or you want to wait a week?
We're going to wait a week. We did a little teaser before last week's town hall. It was beautiful because it ended with a few folks with Chief DeWar Swanigan at the front, like test day's coming, sneak peek. We're going to roll out information next week just to get everybody ready. I'm excited for it. It's something we haven't been able to do here because of COVID and since COVID, and it would be great to roll it back out.
All right. We're at time.
Yes, sir.
And like any good fighter pilot, I try to put bombs on target right on time. So with that, Chief, any final thoughts or comments as folks head into Happy Birthday America weekend?
Yes, sir. Have a great weekend. Recharge, rewind. Come on out on the 3rd for a Summer's Bash. And then if you're so inclined, come on out for the kids parade on the 4th of July. It's going to be a good time. A lot of community involvement. So come on out and check it out.
I'll begin my sign-off remarks here with a thank you. It is impossible for senior leaders to thank all of you enough for what you do and how you contribute to our mission. There have been a couple events that have recently happened, not the least of which are all the changes of commands.
Yes, sir.
There's just a couple left in this season, but I think I've made all of the squadron changes of commands, the farewells and other things associated with that. We're about to get into group change of command rotations. And the theme that you hear there is thanks for the help setting up the ceremony. Thanks for all the work you did during the previous tenure. To the departing family and the leadership team, thank you. And it's not just the member or the civilian director or leader, it's the entire family. Thank you to the community that supported them,
yes,
and thank you to everybody else that contributes. In every part matters, no matter how small or how large. Thank you for doing what you do here to make 93523 the best zip code in the Air Force, yes, and to keep Edwards Air Force Base the center of the airspace testing universe. I could not be more proud of what we have accomplished, and to be really blunt, I'm most proud of what we are on the precipice of continuing to accomplish.
Yes, sir.
I'm so proud and so blessed to have been a very small part of that, and it's just great to be an advocate for you, a cheerleader for you. Please don't be shy. Let us know what you see and what you observe. We've given you like 4 examples. This town hall, when people sing up, we go, we weren't aware of that.
Yes.
So let us know how we can continue to be your advocate, your cheerleaders, your support organizations from the command team and the command suite and the wing top 5. So with that, folks, like Chief said, see you Monday. Great fireworks show, Summer Bash. Enjoy the 4th of July. Think back 200 and plenty years ago about the Patriots that literally weren't celebrating it. They were like, ooh, what did we just do?
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
and it was a big deal, and we are the benefactors of that bravery and everything they did. So take a moment to think about them while you're enjoying the anniversary of that great day in the Independence Hall and out in the square in Philadelphia in 1776, where they said, you know what? See ya, King George. We're going to be our own nation. Yeah. And I'm pretty proud to be an American, not the least of which is because of what they did back then on Independence Day. Have a great weekend, everybody. Happy Friday.
Be safe.